Okay, we are going now. All right, so here's the CPPL app you guys gave me. That's the one that you guys have. So I started going through this, and I wanted to say, okay, so what do we have on here, that we already collect? So obviously, like one, obviously we're collecting the name, the address. We're not collecting the website, so I'll have them add the website. Year established, we are collecting in the way, and not in the form of the year it was established, but how many years they've been in business. Is that going to be sufficient?
Yeah.
We're collecting the legal structure. We are not collecting anything on 6. Other than, and I want to show you this. This is where I start, and this is a lot of my questions have to do with this. Is sign me out. So I can get back in here. I'm in the staging server. Okay, so we say all this stuff is ineligible here. And then that's later on in the application. That's where I have questions about that eligibility piece of it later. But so here, where we ask for on the application, when we go architects, construction managers, personnel engineers, land surveyors, principals, partners, risk managers, all this stuff. So is that not? It's not collected in the class. Like architects, aren't here. So why do we need to know? Do we need to know? Do we need to know this stuff on the application? Do we need to know this?
Which part?
Architect number 6. I'm specifically talking about number 6 right here.
Personnel.
Specified. Can you see my screen? Do you want me to blow this up a little bit?
No, I can see it. Yeah.
See, architects, construction managers, construction personnel, engineers. Do you need to know that stuff?
Not for the rater, but they always have this on a supplemental. So.
Well, then we need to know it, right?
They're gonna know it.
Okay, so you see, so the one, and this is why I always like to see an actual underwriting file, because the one that you sent me over, they sent this application, the CFC application, in place of your application, and they quoted off of it, and they didn't ask for any. They didn't ask for your application to be completed. They quoted right off of this one, from what I could see. So none of that information.
It's a good observation.
I guess is this?
It was sort of there on the top, I guess. I mean, just
where?
Well, just the years in position. I mean,
well, this is the principals, the partners. These are the people running the show.
But yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So I looked on this app and I don't see any place. I mean, I see this. Please state your percentage of total revenue attributable to.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as architects and engineers, and that's not the same as this.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And then if I keep going into this application, we'll get into this. So here's this. Is this where they picked up this information?
Yeah.
So this section 2.2 is equivalent to section 6.
Yeah. If you go down though, does it have on there the numbers of?
No. No, it doesn't.
Okay, so it doesn't have that. Go back to number 6 of ours.
See, these grids for raters are very difficult to build. I mean, I guess we could. The way I would build this is I'd say, do you have any architect? Do you have architects? And if they say, I put yes, no's over here on the left or to the right. And if they say yes, they have architects, then I'd have these pop up down below. Number, license, full-time, part-time. but it's easier to do stuff like this on a rater than it is to do a four tier box, like a four character box.
I mean, yeah, this one being the first one. Let's go back and we can come back to you on this one.
So
See if we can change.
Okay, all right. Well, that's one question then.
Make a note. Should we make notes on this, Rob?
You probably want to make notes. I'm recording this. I can send you the recording too, but I mean, if it's just a couple questions, you probably don't want to have to review the whole recording. Why don't you just try to take a couple notes, and if it gets to be too much, I can just send you the recording and you can pick it off later.
Yeah. So really what we want to be saying here is, can we replace question 6 instead of having numbers? Can we just have percentage of their business?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see, like, and I haven't done a side-by-side comparison of this. Like, I see architectural, obviously, and there's architects. Do I see construction managers? Yes. Do I see construction personnel? No.
I would say the CFC app they are renowned for being lesser questions and more kind of online automated.
Engineers are covered. Both, they break it down even more: chemical, civil, HVAC, mechanical, structural. They have the engineering part of it covered. They've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. 6 of these out of 11. 6 out of 11 are dealing with engineering, so they have engineering covered. Land surveyors. I don't see any land surveyors.
Okay.
It was just curious to me, like okay, so you send me that, I have this application, and this application is very onerous. It's very, very, and I'll get into some other stuff that I don't really like about this application later, here in just a second. But I'm looking at this application for this CFC outfit, and it's a much easier application than yours. I figured if I could just ask you, can we get away with doing something like this instead? That'd be better. But I can always also go, call a section call it personnel, and just say, have a question. Do you employ any of the following? Architects, yes, no, yes. Then this all pops up, and they go, oh, how many? I would change this. I would, number of personnel or something, or I'd change that to something else. But I could have these 4 categories pop down. If you want this exactly how it's set up, I can do it that way. But it's I wouldn't do it this way. I wouldn't do a grid like where they have to fill it in. Nobody likes that on a rater, because they just want to go through like yes, no's, and because if they don't have any architects, they click no. They never even see this. Yeah, if they have none of this, they click no to everything. They never even see any of this. And if it's a matter of, do you have any in the specific categories below? If they look down this list and they go, I've got none of that, and they say no to all, obviously everybody's gonna have principals, partners, officers, and directors. So I would probably suggest we get rid of this line if we do it that way. But do you want to do it that way, where we just say, do you employ any of the following? And say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Give everything a yes, no, and then put a no to all button up here. And if they click yes, then this appears below it, and they can fill this in if needed.
Well, in all honesty, Rob, I think if you can do that, great. If there's certain things which you can't do, or which are going to be a pain in the ass,
we can do anything. I just want to make it as easy as possible for the brokers to fill out, and so what we always try to do when we look at these applications is eliminate, because underwriters go crazy with these applications because they get lazy, and they say, yeah, here's my application. You know, whether it pertains to people or not. That's why you see in this application that I'm looking at, there's a bunch of stuff that's not even filled in. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of junk that's not filled in. So what you work to do in a rater is eliminate all that stuff so they don't even see it. You know, so if you want me to just do it that way, you know, I can do the yes no and then have these things pop in. If
What might be good as well is if there's items on this application which you think is going to be a pain for the broker, then tell us and we can see if we can take them off.
well, here's one.
I think
Yeah.
it would be fun with simplifying this. I mean, you
Yeah,
could even
because-
have specify personnel and then like just an add button, and then if they have architects, they can add architects and stuff like that. If we asked our underwriters, they'd probably say they use this as just for the underrank file. This has really nothing to do with rating or anything. So we should try to find out.
But
what
see,
exactly-
you don't. What I don't want to do either, though, is if they say, "Oh yeah, I get the submission, I rate it," and then I send this back to them and ask them all these crazy questions. You want to try to get this the first time, you know, especially in our space. You're not gonna want to try to like give them an indication and then come back with some big long application, and they're gonna go, "Okay, screw this. I'm never gonna use this again. I just wasted 4 hours of my time." You know?
I'm going to CFC.
Right. Or I'm going to someplace else that has an actual rater. I mean, I don't believe me. CFC is not the best either. It's just simpler than this. But anyways, okay. So I think what we do then is we just say personnel. We ask a question: do you employ any of the following? And when we say employ, we're asking them if they employ these people, right? Not if they subcontract to these people,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, do you employ any of the following categories? Let me say architects. Yes. No. Construction managers. Yes. No. And if they hit yes, we take the number license, full time, part time. We have that populate down below. It it pops down. It doesn't. It's not there unless they click yes. If they click yes, then it populates down, and and then they have to fill it out. Does that work?
Yeah.
Okay, so then principals, partners, officers, and directors, I'm going to move that up above to legal structure, like after legal structure. I'm going to put a new category here that says, that asks for this information up here because I want them to be able to bail out and click no to all if they don't do any of these things. But you can't do that if you have principals, partners, officers, directors, because everybody's going to have those. And I'm gonna remove other, that vague other thing. So all you're gonna be left with is architects, construction managers, construction personnel, engineers, land surveyors, and risk managers. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so.
And deep, I'm being this detailed so you can understand what we want. So this other is going away. Total's going away. Principals, partners, officers, directors moving up here behind after legal structure. And then we're going to ask a question. Do you employ any of the following personnel? Do you employ any of the following in these personnel categories? Question. No to all button. Yes, no. These pop down if they click yes. Okay. Okay. We're going to add 7. And we're just going to say, has the applicant entered into any joint ventures? If they click yes, then we'll have this come down and there'll be a text box. Okay? In fact, actually, what we're going to do first is we're going to go 7, has the applicant entered into any joint ventures? If they click yes, the second number 7 here will pop down first. And then below that, this question will be below that with the text box below that. Okay? Because I don't see any place on our on the radar where we're collecting that information. Okay, 8 and 9. Is the applicant a general contractor? Is the applicant a specialty contractor? That's where I kind of got a little bit hung up. So if they're a general contractor or a specialty contractor from the class code they select, right? canopy?
Correct. Correct.
Right. Okay. So we don't need to ask 8. 8 or 9 is eliminated, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you'll pick that up from 6.
Yeah. Well, actually, you'll pick it up from the rater. Remember, these questions we're incorporating into the rater, right? So the rater is, they're gonna have to pick a class code to rate, and all of these are like if they're a GC, these are your class codes here, right? Anything else is a specialty contractor, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we don't need 8 or 9. Okay. Do you need 10, 11, and 12?
I mean, not for rating purposes, but
I know, but from an underwriting perspective, do you need it?
I really only 12.
Really, only 12?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So back to the CFC.
Because where's their question there?
Well, here's their question: general contractor, yes, no. So they hit that there, right? But all these things will be the activities, what they call activities. That's going to be derived from what they select as a class code or class codes. Remember, they can select more than one class code on the rater, right?
Yep.
So then, okay, what percent of repeat clients, largest client? Okay. We already hit that. This we'll get back to. Okay. So this sort of goes to what percentage of gross revenues are derived from repeat clients? What percentage of gross revenues are derived from... Why do you need to know that, by the way? What from repeat or largest?
I don't know, to be honest.
Right. Okay. That's fine. Largest project.
That's what I'm saying. So, it's not. It's a nice.
They kind of get into it here. Like approximately how many customers do you have? 15 plus, which is sort of vague anyway. That's their subcontractor section. Yeah, and that's it. So okay, so they don't really get into. They don't ask this stuff about gross revenues from repeat clients or largest clients, and your underwriter rated and quoted without that information.
Yeah.
So can we say we're going to eliminate 10 and 11 and just keep 12?
Yeah.
Okay, so 10 and 11 are out. We keep 12, and then do you get a lot of applicants with projects outside the United States?
No, you may get you may get an incidental job that someone's doing, a one-off job, but typically no. Usually it's
if you get a job, if you get like a contractor that comes in the door and says, "Yeah, I have a project in Mexico."
Yep.
You're good with that? You'll write that?
Yeah. The only places where we wouldn't cover are places where Lloyd's isn't licensed.
Which are
basically the sanctioned countries.
Okay, so North Korea.
Yeah, Lloyd's has a worldwide license. And then the only
do you get like a lot of in your program? Do you see a lot of applicants projects outside the United States?
No, and in our experience, we only ever had one claim on our environmental program in the past where somebody was doing some work overseas and it ended up, becoming a claim. But the issue was they wanted to be paid in the kind of local bank account. And we were like, no, we can only pay. The claimant has to be paid to the US. So, but other than that, I mean, if it was someone that was going to say to us, yeah, they do 20% of their works outside of the US, I mean, we're not covering that. It's really it's only for
that was
incident.
that was my next question. So it goes to eligibility, right? So if an applicant comes in and says 50% of our work is in Mexico, you
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna decline that.
Where's your cutoff?
In all, I mean, in all honesty, anything really over a few percent is kind of the cutoff. I mean, we're not looking to, ensure overseas work. This is really to just accommodate where a contractor may have a project somewhere, but like kind of a one-off as opposed to a frequent run of business.
So would it be? I don't know. I mean, if you're just like a one-off type of situation and you're really not, doesn't seem like you're really super hot on it anyway. Would it be like better just to say it's not part of we don't allow it?
Yeah, well, why don't you say, yeah, is more than 5% of your more than 5% of the applicants' projects outside of the United States.
So up here, do you perform any of the following operations? We would add something here. Something like more than 5% of the percentage of projects performed outside the U.S. more than 5%.
Yeah,
Right here.
yeah.
So then, okay, so we're going to add that to eligibility here. So now it's an eligibility issue. So if they're doing like 50% of their work in Mexico, they're going to click yes. They're going to be out of the program, right? So, do we, just to tighten that up? Do we say, do we just leave this question as is and let them answer it to make sure that they're answered it properly, or do you want to say are more than 5% of the applicants' projects outside the United States?
Yeah, I would.
Because we can do a what percentage of the applicants' projects are outside the United States, and then over here do a drop down for 1 through 20%, and then greater than 20%.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd want to do 5, 10, 15, 20 up to 100 because you if it's 2, you want to know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave this question as is. We'll also add it to eligibility, but we'll leave this question as is, and then we'll do a drop down from 1 to 20 and 20 and greater, or greater than 20. Good.
Yeah.
And then if they answer, if this is, and we have to make sure there's a 0 on there too, because we've done that before. We don't have a 0 and cause problems. Make sure there's a 0. So 0 to 20, and then 20 and higher, and then if 1 through 20, if this is greater than 0, then have a drop down, pop down, and say, please list the countries with a text box. Okay. So, here, that brings me to this monster number 13. Do you really need to know all this stuff?
I mean, really, you kind of do need to know that, yeah.
You do?
I don't know if we can do a better job of sub-categorizing it, but we need to know construction values.
Okay, let me just look on this application and see where they... Okay, so is this where they're handling this? Please advise the percentage of your revenue received in the following areas of work.
Yeah, but where have they got on there where the actual dollar amounts are?
No, they just say 50, 50, 100, which adds up to 200, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. But I guess maybe they're saying they do 50% for siding and roofing and 100% on commercial buildings, I suppose is what they're saying. But Let's just look really quick to see if we have any. Please state your percentage of total revenue attributable to construction only.
And then whereabouts on there does it actually have their construction values on that app?
Yes, right here.
Yeah. So there
15.
we go. It's got.
And
So it's got professional.
and we collect that. See, we collect that here. I think. Hold on. Yeah, construction values here, and then we have the class codes, right? Remember, and they can add another. You know, like they do. If they want to add, you know, like this, right? So you know that they're 50-50 drywall paving. You have the construction value up here, which is 15 million, or 15 million. So now you know it's like 7.5 million of drywall, 7.5 million of paving, and you're collecting the same information, I guess. Go back to this one. So they're here on this application, right, where they quoted off of this 15 million. All right, and then construction only. And then there are these class codes. They sub out 100% of the actual. We'll get to that. And then the percentage of revenue in the following areas of work: siding and roofing, basically, on commercial buildings. That's what they do. So that's a long way to me, anyway. This is like 3 pages of dispersed and very, you know, like separate information. That's a way of doing the same thing that we're doing here, where we have 15 million of construction values and split evenly between drywall and paving.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you're simplifying it so much that it's so much easier. Like when our underwriters get that application, then they're inputting that info into the rater. But you're pretty much doing both steps at once. So how you're doing it, yeah, that makes sense. All those different activity categories, I'm not sure what the underwriters would say if they want it broken down into that, level of detail. But how you're doing it, you're rating it up and getting info at the same time. So it makes sense to me.
I mean, construction, general contract. So this is like construction only. Construction management at risk. I don't even know what that means, but I look at this whole grid and I'm like, Jesus Christ, can we just get rid of this?
Yeah, I agree. So there's a lot on there. Let's see if we can simplify that or get rid of it altogether.
Yeah, I mean, you're collecting that information, so.
Aren't you? I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant about this. They might need some information, but aren't you really like collecting? Make sure we are collecting that. So yeah, construction contractor, design, build, right? So they're like a 50% contractor and they're a 50% design build, right? So you know that. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. We can build it any way you guys want to, I loved how simple this thing is. It's great. But anyways, contractor design build. Let's go. Okay, so contractor design build. Are we addressing that? So contractor design build. Right? And this permanently abandoned projects. Then OSIP, like, do you guys need to know separately insured? But like, is that OSIP? Is that other coverage in place?
Yeah.
Like they're walking onto a big Bechtel job, and they're under a wrap, and they don't have that in their. Is that?
That's what that's going to be.
Is that a thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would suggest out of this whole section, I would suggest adding 2 questions. Do you have any abandoned projects in the last 3 years? Are you currently or do you plan to participate in any projects where there is a projects under wrap. How about that?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, so then if we put that, well, we're gonna have to add a whole application section. So deep, those two questions are gonna be coming in. On my application here, those two questions will be coming in. Like after you can, for now, you can just put it right after the United States question. It's good enough for me anyway. Good enough for you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So does that kind of take care of this whole section, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, the only thing it doesn't do is it doesn't do, like here they're asking for current year and last year. You know, but honestly, I didn't see that on this application. You guys quoted off of this, so you know, again, we're trying to eliminate unnecessary stuff. Let me just see if I.
They don't have the past 2 years on this thing?
No, and I'm going to get into that too in a minute because there is a section for that where it says here. Let me get to it. That's largest projects. Financial. No, I don't think they do. No, they don't. They don't ask for anything about last year. Oh no, last year. Yeah, last year for current. I don't know why there's two of those. But yeah, they are last in the estimate. So how do we address that on our app right now? We don't. All right, deep. Let's put current year construction values, prior year construction values. Let's add another box here. You don't need to add more, two more of these. Just add these. Just leave these as is. Would that be fair, you guys?
You can leave, yeah, as is.
Would that cover it? I mean, you know, that would give you the same thing that they did here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just yes, you know, like this year, like what year this year has been asked for. You know, what was it last year, right? And they're probably just going to put the same thing like what they did here, 15 million, whatever, you know. But it doesn't affect rating at all. It's just more information.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
We can do this with A&E next once CPPL's done.
Okay, so here's where I kind of went, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this because it's like maybe this isn't the one. No, the next 15 is the section I really kind of lost my mind on. Okay, but here's one. So we're asking for specify the percentage of gross revenues from services performed in-house and by subs derived from categories below. Must equal 100%. Okay. So that you asked that there. Let me just see if there's anything like that on this application that they quoted off of. No. Yeah, here. Is that equivalent to this, basically? Mining, metal erection, marine structures, public building, bridges. See bridges on here, but it's all the nasty stuff, right? Or it's like maybe not the nasty stuff, but you got construction management. Right. Some of this isn't bad, right? Some of this you'll do drywall, electrical. We'll know that from the class code, right? Fencing,
yep.
Landscaping, that kind of stuff. We'll know that from the class code. Artisan, okay. But here we ask for, oh, well, what percentage of your work is naval, marine, piers, or dredging, or mining, or soil excavation? Where's the other one? Okay. You ask that stuff, but then here, we're like mining. It's not part of the program. Why would we ask why? Why would we ask for those? Why would we ask for what percentage of work they're doing in that field if it's already excluded under eligibility?
Yeah, don't need to. Just replicating.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I wasn't missing something there. So back to the app. So really all this stuff here, tunneling, right? Do you allow for tunneling on this program?
Aye.
Tunnels, right? It's excluded. Okay, so all this stuff here in 14, really, I mean, you're going to know from the class code, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get rid of 14 altogether and just say it's already excluded under eligibility, or it's included in class code selection, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, 15, same thing, basically. Like, why are we asking them about their revenue from ethanol plants?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we could do a section, because if they want to know, like, okay, I could see them on commercial high rise, 12 to 40 stories. What percentage of your revenue is derived from that, right? Because I don't know if you probably don't exclude those types of things, correct? Am I correct? Like you'll allow the people that buy a CPPL policy to work on a skyscraper over 40 stories, or will you not?
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not excluded.
Right. So you would want to know that, but you don't want to ask them. I don't think if they're how much of their percentage of their revenue is derived from nuclear plants, because you don't allow for that, correct?
Yeah. No.
Okay. So
Exclude.
what and Superfund pollution? Are you allowing for that?
No.
Can they work on a Superfund site? I hope not.
No.
We need to find another program. No, just kidding. Anyways. So look, I think what it's fair to say, just so we don't miss anything here, for 14 and 15, can you have your underwriter go through and just knock out the ones that they really need, or how about identify the ones that they really need?
Yeah.
And eliminate. Just say just tell us which ones they really need. I don't really care which ones they don't need. I just need to know which ones they need.
Yeah.
Because like sports. You guys allow for sports?
I mean, we can write it, yeah.
And to that point, look, how about this? If they look at this, they go, okay, airports. I don't know if you allow for airport work. We allow a little bit of airport work in our program. I don't know about you. How about amusement rides? Okay. I'm sure you guys don't allow for amusement rides, correct?
Nope.
Right. Okay. So no amusement rides. Let's just see. So like, oh, it is on here. Amusement rides. It's on here. So anything. Let's do it this way. Anything that's on this list that they don't need, we will cross-reference against eligibility. Well, no. So I need them to tell me two things. Which ones they need, and we'll have a section that says please specify gross revenue derived from each of the categories. We'll figure out how to map that out and make it look pretty. So which ones they need, and which ones of these need to be added to the ineligible classes list. Like which ones need to be added to this page?
Yeah.
Because it looks to me like there's about 20 on here, and we're probably missing some, that you don't want.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
So go through 14 and 15 and tell us which ones you want, which ones you need, and which ones are ineligible.
All right.
Okay. 16. In the past 5 years, the applicant had earning professor. Okay, and so we can add this question about condo. You need this question answered, yeah? Guys?
That's fine.
Condo and townhome work?
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
we need that one.
Okay, Deep, add that question. If they answer yes. Now, if they answer yes, what do you want them to tell you about that project? Do you need all this stuff?
It's a good question. So it's going to come back to that. Yeah, let's come back to you on that one.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions.
I mean, it's a lot, you know? So if they say, oh, no, we don't really need to know that until, you know, we only need to know when they did it. Or we only need to know, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So, yeah, just, or maybe they don't need to know anything, you know, maybe there's nothing canned that they can come up with that they want to know. They just want to know if they've had that exposure, and then that's one where they could like follow up with a follow up underwriting question in an email or something. You know, a quick email to the broker saying, "Oh, what would they do?" You know.
Let's do that.
You want to do that?
That's fine. Delete that. If yes, provide details.
So just a yes or no, and that's an indicator to the underwriter that they need to ask, you know, for a little bit more detail on that if they want to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 17. All right. So these, we have no luck with doing this. Like, only when they come to us and say like, and I don't know how it is with in your program, but we have no luck getting them to write this right off the bat. This largest project stuff in the last 5 years, because nobody wants to go digging through their files and, you know, resurrect the past and figure that out, you know, on the first go around. So the only time we ever have any luck doing that is like if we get somebody that comes in and says, I want to build new homes, but I've been remodeling for 5 years. Well, no, let's just say simplify it. So I want to build new homes. New piece of business comes to us, says, I'm a new home builder. Then we can ask them as a follow-up question, okay, you want to be a new home, you want us to insure you as a new home builder. Tell us what you know, tell us about the last 3 homes you built. Then we get some specifics on that. I don't know if you guys need this information. You know, the largest project in the last 5 years. Do you really need that? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because this is the application that Lee quoted off of, and they did not provide that information. Please.
What number was the question?
What?
Is that 17?
So 17 is please provide the details of the applicant's 5 largest projects undertaken in the past 5 years. And everybody goes, oh boy, big pain in the butt question. The name, the city, the state, the client. God, 5 years ago? I don't know. I mean, okay, let me go back through my files, and then they never get back to you because they go to DSF or they go to CFC, and they have the question on their app, but they don't make them answer it.
Yeah.
So 3.1 on the CFC app is equivalent to your 17, but your underwriter quoted without this information. So my question to you is, for the smaller stuff, do you really need this question answered?
Sometimes, yeah, but sometimes that's because it's going to be a pre-bind subjectivity.
So
They may quote without those answers, but they'll ask for it before binding.
well, I looked at the underwriting file and they did not.
Okay, fair enough.
So there was never any follow up about the largest 5 projects. Maybe at a certain point, you know, like maybe it's like our new home build. We don't ask that for every single person. We don't ask every, you know, like plumber, you know, that spends his whole day unclogging toilets. You know, tell us about your largest 5 projects in the last 5 years. You know, he'd be like scratching his head going, I don't know, I don't want to answer that question. So, but we've asked it as a follow-up. So is that like a follow-up thing? So can we eliminate 17 from the rater, and just like if the underwriter wants to ask for this information as a follow-up in a tough class, they can do it, or a certain size, they can do it?
Yeah.
We'll do that?
I think check with underwriters, but I think that should be fine.
Okay, so 17 we're going to eliminate unless they like do a tap dance on somebody's desk and say, no, we have to have it on every single submission.
Yeah. I mean, we'll come back to you, but hopefully we can delete it. But all of these where there's potential changes, we'll come back and confirm early next week.
Okay, I mean, really, 17, there's just a couple where I think I need you to come back to me. 14, 15, and now 16. Or, 17.
Yep.
14, 15, 17 so far. Okay, microbial exposure. Tell me about... Okay, so does every single policy have coverage for mold?
Yes.
Okay, so you need to ask these questions for every single applicant, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, fair. I mean, this isn't awful because it's only like 4 questions. So let me just look and compare to... All these guys ask, I think, if I'm right, is, do you have a mold mitigation plan? And then there's something else maybe they ask. No, that's it. That's all they ask about mold. I don't know if this is an equivalent policy, or I think it is. But okay, anyways. So Deep, we're going to add a section entitled microbial exposure, and we're going to add these questions, and that's it. Easy. On a 19. Okay. Transportation and disposal. Let's look and see how these guys deal with this, because I think I like the way they did it better. Where is it? Here it is. Is there 4.1? Do you transport or dispose of any hazardous waste, chemicals, or liquids the same as your transportation and disposal section?
Yeah, looks like it. It just looks like they're just briefer.
I mean, so they simply ask, do you transport or dispose of any hazardous waste, chemicals, or liquids, or have you done? Or I might even add, do you now or have you in the past transported or disposed of any hazardous waste or chemicals or liquids? Right. And
yeah,
and then so like probably, I don't know how many, but probably I'll just guess like 80% of your folks are going to say no, and it's just a move on, right? Am I kind of close to that, you think?
Wait, one by me again?
Well, they'd probably answer no, most of these contractors are probably going to answer no to this question, correct?
Yeah.
And then there's nothing more to ask them, right?
Yeah, they say no.
So like transportation and disposal. Has the applicant ever been named? Has the applicant had any pollution claims? From transporting cargo or waste. If they've never done it, of course they've never had any claims. Who's responsible for transporting the waste from the job site? Well, not me, because I don't do it. What percentage of waste or other cargo transported by either applicant or sub? I don't do it. Please complete the following transport file. I don't do it. So there's all this stuff, right? Can just be answered by saying no. Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that I was Okay, so then, okay, that's good. All right. So for pollution, next section, pollution. Do this. If they hit yes, give them a text box. If not, nothing. Do you perform any environmental contracting operations? Same thing. Yes, give them a text box. No, move on. Do you guys like these 3 questions? You want to round it out with those 3 questions? Do you have a mold mitigation plan? Well, that sort of goes to your mold. Where was your mold thing? Your mold thing was up here. This is all mold is covered up here, correct?
Yeah, under the microbiome.
Okay, so we don't need to do question 4.3. Do you like 4.4? Do you have a formal spill prevention, control, and countermeasure plan? Do you have a dedicated environmental officer? Do you like those questions? You don't want them.
And they're fine. They're pretty good.
They're basic, you know. I mean, if somebody says no, you might want to say, well, why not? You know, or the only thing is if they say they don't do any environmental operations, if they say no to this, I'm not sure I'd want this question. How about we just do this? How about we do 4.1, 4.2, and 4.4 and call it good?
Yeah.
Is that good?
I think so. It's cleaner.
So you got microbial exposure, transportation, and disposal. We just covered that, correct? Yeah. Because do you transport will open that Pandora's box. If they say yes, then you can come back and ask them all this stuff, right? Right?
Hey, sorry. Say again, Rob.
I said if they answer yes to this, do you transport or dispose of any? Do you now or have you in the past ever transported or disposed of any hazardous waste, chemicals, or liquids? If they say no to this, great. If they say yes, and you give them this text box, they can explain a little bit, and then you can always come back to them and hit them with all these questions in a follow up, right?
Yeah.
And give them all this heavy passenger,
Yeah.
especially all this stuff, right? Okay, contracts.
Why would there be Rob? Why would there be no water in my Why would there be no water in my house at the moment? That's why I was distracted just then. Apparently, my girlfriend's the water's stopped running in all the taps. Why'd that be?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, why would that be? Yeah, what do you what do we do?
Sounds like a question for your super. Well, do you have any neighbors that you know?
Yeah.
Call them and ask them if their water's working.
Yeah.
That's where I'd start. And if they say, no, is your water off too? Say, yeah, my water's off. And then I call management and say, hey, my water's off and my neighbor's water's off. You know, what's going on?
All right.
Did you pay your bill? Is it on auto pay?
No.
Sorry, Dean. You don't have any water for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucked.
It doesn't end. It never ends. On thing to the next.
It's completely off.
Yeah, some reason.
I was just.
Bizarre.
It is bizarre. Yeah, ask your neighbors.
I'd start with my neighbors.
You're all in the same building.
Okay. Contracts. This is we're almost there, guys. So I know this stuff's painful, but you only have to do it once or twice, and then we're done.
It's all good.
Okay, contracts. So see how this is all. There's lots of questions here about contracts. So my question is always, do we need all this? Is this the best way to do it? Now I'll show you how CFC deals with it. They say here. I love how they deal with it. .4. Do you carry out work only under a written contract signed by every client? Yes or no? I mean, if they say yes, then, then you just say, please provide a copy of your standard form of contract or typical examples of contracts used. And then you can put a little upload box here where they can upload it if they have it available. And you can say, please upload it here now. And it goes to the document handler. Please upload it here now if you have it available, or plan to upload it later or something, before binding or post binding or something. So, do you carry out work only under written contract? Yes, we have a written contract with every client, and here's a copy of a sample. Okay. So if you do that, do you need to ask all this stuff?
No.
Like oral agreement. I mean, I don't know who's doing business with or I guess there's plenty of people, but oral agreements and client using their contract, or do you really need to know to that detail?
Yeah, I can't see them needing that. I mean,
this is all Bob.
Does the applicant's standard contracts been reviewed and approved by a legal counsel? I think here, they have a question like this. Please describe your legal review process, if any, before entering into new contracts or agreements. They have their attorney look at it, and they have their insurance agent look at it. So where their CFC is dealing with contracts and subcontractors, and from here to here, that's it. And this application here, your application, is like all of this and all of this for subs. So, obviously, I like the CFC approach better because it's shorter and it's simpler. So, all right. So just go back to contract. So if you say, yes, I use a contract. Here's a sample of my contract. And maybe just throw a question in there. Are all your contracts reviewed by legal counsel before you enter into them? They say yes. Fine. No. They can give a text box to explain. Do you need to know all this stuff, I guess is what I'm asking. I mean, it's just like question 24. I looked at this one. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, what percentage of the applicant's contracts have specified payment terms? What contract doesn't have specified payment terms?
Exactly.
that is ridiculous.
Well, 50% of our contracts don't have specified payment terms. Well, how are you getting paid? It's just like when I saw that question, I'm like, what are we doing?
I mean, all 26. Yes, I think every business has, collections.
I mean,
27 too. It's like, do you have what do they? I mean, okay, yeah, we have a dispute resolution service over fees and charges. It's called, we send them to collections, or I just don't understand the why the depth of information is necessary here.
yeah, I agree with those, definitely.
So, if we ask them if they have a contract and they say yes, we enter into a contract every single time, and here's a copy of our standard contract, or here's the contract that I entered into last week with ABC client. Are we good?
Yep.
We good with that?
Yep.
Okay. So all we're going to do, D, is we're going to say this. We're going to copy that question exactly. If they hit yes, there's nothing. No. This, right? Please try to follow it. And then add a question just to round it out for the for the underwriters. Well, I was maybe thinking about adding something about, do your contracts have a hold harmless clause, or limitation of liability clause in them? Do you want to ask that question, or you just want to just ask the question, they have contract, and then get the contract? Is that good? I guess we just call it good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We don't need to ask anything about 3.5. So far we're taking 3.4, and then in place of 3.6, add a question. Do you have your contracts reviewed by legal counsel prior to entering into them?
Which one are you looking at here? I think my screen better.
3.6.
3.6. Okay.
Please describe your legal review. I'm trying to figure out a different way of asking this question. I think it's good to ask them this, to make sure, they have a contract, and then do you how about this? Do you have a legal review performed of any new contracts?
Yes or no?
Entered into? Yes or no? And if they say yes, great. No, give them a text box. That's it. Done. Okay, subcontractors. So okay. So this is how they deal with subcontractors. They simply say, do you employ them? And then if yes, they just ask you ABC. So, and then we are subcontractors. I mean, the subcontractor section is not awful on this application. I just need to know, do you need to know the breakdown of how they use their subs? Like this. Or do you just want to rely upon the fact that we know from the applicant, remember, we know from the rating, right? We know they're half drywall, half paving. We know they're 50% contractor, 50% design build. So we have our percentages there. And then, so do we really need to break it down again? Or do we just simply need to know if they use subcontractors?
Yeah.
Because if they don't, then it's a big nothing burger, and you don't have to ask anything, right?
We need to know if they use subs.
Sure, of course you do. So if they use subs, we can say this: what percentage of applicants subcontractors are engaged in a written contract? That's fine. Does the applicant require proof of all these? Yes, no, yes, no. We can do that. So 29 and 30 are in. And then let's add as another. Actually, let's make this the first question under the, if they answer yes to subs. Let's make this the what percentage of your revenue will be paid to subcontractors in this current financial year, and do a drop down 5%, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, up to 50, and then greater than 50. Do a drop down there. That'll be the first question. The second question will be what percentage of the applicants are engaged in a written contract. The third question will be 30. The fourth question will be does your subcontractor agreement contain a hold harmless clause in your favor? Yes or no? That's it. that good, guys? So we
Yeah,
good?
then the question. Yeah, we could. Yeah. Then
What's that? Hello?
yeah.
We're good to go?
Yeah, yeah. So let us come back on those kind of key questions, and then
You don't like the way
but yeah, I mean,
you
if
don't
it's
like the way I line that up?
that you like what up this piece.
The subcontractors.
Yeah, no, I like the way you did it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you trying to get off the phone and figure out your water problem?
No, the water problem, we know what it is. Some contractor went through some pipe, apparently. They got an email from the HOA.
Ask them if they're employed
So-
under contractor shield.
Literally, I just
And tell them they better call before they dug.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
No,
there's an exclusion.
They'll be under Ryan's program.
Yeah.
It doesn't end. It's just always something.
Okay. So we're almost done. Hang in there with me.
It's just frustrating. This app does just looking at
I
it.
know you want
does
it. So what
need-
you want to do? So when you start looking at stuff, and you really start looking at it. When you really start looking at it, what you want to do is jump off the call and like not want to have to think about this anymore, right? So
Well, it's
imagine
just
what your
annoying.
brokers are going through every single day. This is why you're not getting any business in your CPPL product, by the way. This is why. This app is why.
This app definitely needs. It's annoying. It's annoying. This app.
Well, you need to go all the way through the experience so you can feel what your brokers are feeling when they look at this application. So next time you put an application out in the general public, you're going to want to go through it like this.
Our A&E is even longer. Anyway.
Okay, risk management. Do we need this?
The applicant. Didn't we just? Is this redundant?
What's that?
No?
Does the applicant have procedures for monitoring and collecting outstanding fees? I mean, I'm not even sure how that's, I guess that's a financial risk management question, but I mean, do we really want to know how they run their accounting department?
No, I don't think we need any of those.
Is this redundant? Didn't we just?
It's absolutely redundant. It's absolutely redundant. It's right up here. It's under contracts. It's like contracts and risk management. Two of the questions in risk management are identical to the questions you ask up in contracts. Well, actually, does the applicant obtain written approval from clients upon completion? I mean, I don't even know what that means. Does the applicant obtain written approval from clients upon completion of services performed? Like sign off, project sign off? Like, hey, I love your work, thank you. And then they won't next week when it breaks. So what does it even matter?
Yeah. And
Are we good with getting rid of this risk management section and not having it?
yeah, take those out.
Okay. All right. Liability and claim experience.
Okay.
So I always like to, when you get to claims, I always like to ask like what you have for 36 and 37 first, and if they answer no, there's nothing else to talk about. So like
Yeah.
that's how these guys deal with it, right? So please say whether you're aware of any incident. So basically, they're saying, do you know of anything that might be a claim? Have you had any claims in the last 5 years? And then they add a C and D question in. I don't understand that one. I guess you could ask it, but I think it's necessary. Has anybody been a bad boy? Yes or no? I guess you could ask that. But claims experience, you basically want to know for claims, right? You want to know, have you had any claims in the last 5 years? And do you know about anything that could turn into a claim? Right?
Yeah.
And that's it. Do you want to know anything else?
No.
That's so deep. We're going to do under claims experience, claims, whatever, let's say yeah, let's call it prior claims. Just ask the question. Have you had any claims in the last 5 years? Have any liability claims been made against the applicant during the last 5 years? Yes or no? And does the applicant have any knowledge of any facts or I like just actually copy and paste 36 and 37. If it's no, there's nothing to say. If they hit yes, then give them a text box. If they hit yes, give them a text box. And that's it.
I know, because on all of these, when we abbreviate these questions, if we need additional if we need additional information at time of firming up.
Right. So what you've done is you've taken this whole section right here, this entire section, this whole half a page, and you boiled it down into 2 questions.
Yeah.
It's like it's the biggest no-brainer in the history of mankind. You know.
Yeah, it's way cleaner, definitely.
Okay, insurance history. This is another question I had.
That's why you need to join us, Rob, so you can simplify the process.
I'm waiting. I've already given you my price tag. All right, so insurance history.
You said that. You're on record now. Was it million, wasn't it?
Steve Jobs of insurance.
Insurance history. Okay. Do we need to know this? I mean, obviously we can ask this question, simple enough, right? I mean, 39, if you want to throw an insurance history section in, which we should throw an insurance history section in. We'll start off with asking them this question, which is a general question, have you been declined? Have you been canceled? Has anybody refused to renew you? And all that, because if that's a yes, that's an indicator there's a problem, right? And it's a simple enough question to ask.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
I like 40 too.
Yeah, you should ask 40. Yeah.
You should ask 40, right? Okay, so if you ask 40 and they say no, are they out of the program? If they're not currently insured under a PL policy, if they're not currently insured under a professional liability policy, are they out? Can you still?
Well, if they could be a new venture.
They can't be a new venture.
So they could. Yeah, they could. So if the reason for them not to have a policy, I guess, would be for them to be a new venture.
What if they're not a new venture? What if they're not a new venture and they're coming to you for their first professional liability policy they've ever had?
We're probably going to not write that, but we'd take a look at it though. Probably going to pass. It's just I don't know what the reason would be why he wouldn't carry the insurance, so we probably wouldn't write it, to be honest.
Well, okay. So, like, let's say my book, right? Let's say we open this up to my book. And every renewal we push out, we offer a CPPL policy, companion policy with it.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that 85 to 90%, probably 95% of my book, my contractors, my guys, don't have and never have had professional liability insurance. But a lot of them have been in business for, 10, 15, 20 years. A lot of them are very solid people, solid risk. Some of them aren't, but, So those types of individuals that want to have a CPPL policy now, but they never had one before, you wouldn't write.
No, sorry, I misspoke. If it's a no or a yes, we're going to still look at that risk, because as you say, most of these aren't going to be carrying CPPL.
Right, and that's where we're trying to target, right? That's really where we're trying to go to, is like, hey, we have some protection here for you that you want, that you haven't been made aware of, that you've needed for all these years, but we want to give it to you. So, I just, and more I was chasing down, does that need to be eligibility or what? Not being completely partial in my book, but is it an eligibility problem? So,
no, we can ask the question, and if it's a yes, then I don't, keep that question on there, but just keep it as yes, no.
Okay, so if they say no, there's nothing more to ask, right?
No.
If they say yes, do you need to know all this information?
No, we can get that afterwards if we need it.
Okay, fair enough. So deep 40's in. Yes, no, nothing else needs to happen no matter how they answer it. 41. What is the retro date on the current expiring professional liability insurance policy? Okay. So that would pop down so deep. If they answer yes to 40, then have 41 appear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
42. Provide details on applicant's current general liability and umbrella insurance. Do you need that?
It wouldn't. We like to see the loss runs on the GL.
Okay. Well, so then you ask for loss runs later.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to know all that information there.
Right? On the first, I mean, you don't need. I mean, do you ever need to know this?
No, I mean this application's been written by someone that's quite extensive when it comes to applications. So certain things on there which
that's fairly evident. So we're not gonna worry about 42 at all. So how we're gonna deal with basically insurance history is 39, 40, and if they answer yes to 40, it's 41, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we already have a standard disclaimer on our policy for you better tell the truth kind of stuff, or you're out.
Yeah.
So we don't need to worry about that. Now let's just look at the CFC contract one last time. I don't think there's anything else here. I don't like additional information boxes. I think they're dumb. We did that. Did that. We do not, however, I don't think, ask for. We do not ask for, and I need to know if we need to. We do not ask for this information. Owner name, amount of ownership, entity name, relation to insured, all that. We don't ask for that. Do we need to?
No. No, you don't. No, you don't.
You sure?
I mean, we asked for that. Yeah.
Okay. Because we do ask for that sometimes depending on how they say their business is structured in our contractors program. We will ask for owner and officer information. Let's see. Do we ask for it? Hold on a minute. Oh. No, I guess we don't. Let me see here. If I say it's a LLC. No. No. Okay, fair enough. All right, sorry. So we don't need this. Said we don't need. I think we carried that through, right? We didn't need the largest projects. They could ask for later. Okay, right. We said they could ask for that later. We got all this. Oh, do you need to know? Is there any problem with 2.4? They ask about stuff going on in New York. Do you care about that?
Yeah, we want to know about New York. Yeah.
Do you? Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Add a question to the general app that says just like this. How about that? Just like it says. Do you undertake any projects in the state of New York? Yes, no. And if yes, then have a drop down box come. Actually, do a percentage over here.
Yeah.
And just say 5 to 50 greater than 50 include a 0. Well, not you can't include a 0, but 5 to 50 and greater than 50%, right?
Yeah.
I think we have on our app, we have a contact name area. No, we don't. I think we need to add that.
It's not saying we wouldn't write it in New York. It's just we'd want to know.
Right.
Take a harder look at it.
Hey, Deep, add a, like we have, so here on this, on the business details area, add something somewhere, probably here, after email address, add no, add add contact name. We need to know who to like who the main contact is at the entity, correct? I mean, eventually you're going to need to know who to call if there's a problem, there's a claim, or somebody to you know who to talk to. So, contact name and email address if it's not on there. I think it is. No, it's, oh yeah, email address is here. So actually put after state right here, just like we have it on GL, contract or contact name, and then just have all this drop down one. You got space, contact name, and then email address, and everything drops down one. All right, and then okay, I think that's it.
Like I say, once we get this one done, we want to do A&E next, Rob.
Well, this now that we have this done, this recording done. In fact, I'm going to stop the recording really quick. Hold on. Stop the recording.